In our Women's Health Wednesday, we're talking about our thyroids again. And today, however, we're talking about thyroid supporting foods and supplements. We have Dr. Provost and wellness coach Ashley Sorensen joining us today. Last time we talked about some of the things that we should avoid for our healthy thyroid. And today we're talking about some positive things. But I'd like to start once again, why we should talk about thyroid and why it's so important to our health.
Yeah, so thyroid is, it's a hormone and it's part of the endocrine system. And the thing is it's not just its own entity. It really affects weight management, women's hormone balance, cholesterol levels, blood pressure. It can affect so many different things. So it's really important to make sure that it's healthy and happy.
Okay, and so we know through studies and research and just real life that there are certain foods that are beneficial to keeping our thyroid healthy. And Ashley, do you have some recommendations on what foods and vitamins we should be focusing on?
Yeah, so as far as like the foods, again, we want to treat food as medicine. And they talk a lot about selenium and zinc, iodine, iron. And some, like the superfood that we've found are oysters, which that has like most everything in it.
Really?
It's good for your thyroid. However, they're not too common to come by here.
Here in North Dakota,
right.
Minnesota, right.
And a lot of times for iron we hear of like red meat, but there's so many other foods that are, good for these deficiencies that we do have. So I think we have, like sea vegetables, like the seaweed wraps, things like that, kelp powder even for iodine, a couple of Brazil nuts a day for selenium, and then for zinc, like the sunflower seeds as well. So you can get these things through just basic nutrition, and instead of having, like the cashews, maybe you choose a different nut or seed. Mm-hmm. So
interesting. I know when you first say, you kind of break it down into what are real things that you can eat. I like that too. And when I'm looking at the graphic, support thyroid production, conversion, sensitivity, kind of explain what that means, what the differences are.
Thyroid production, basically that's the hormones that come from the thyroid gland itself. So you want to use nutrients and supplements that are going to support the thyroid to produce thyroid hormone. So that's where the things like the B vitamins are really important in order to support thyroid health and energy levels. And then for the thyroid conversion, there's two different forms of thyroid hormone. There's an inactive T4 and the active T3. And so selenium is the biggest thing that really helps with that conversion from the inactive to the active form. So L-selenomethionine is the form of selenium that I usually recommend as a supplement. And then when you actually have the thyroid in your bloodstream, where it does its job is in the cells. So you want to make sure that the cells are taking up the thyroid hormone in order for it to do what it's supposed to do in the mitochondria and producing energy. And so one of the things that's not often discussed with thyroid is the vitamin A levels. So vitamin A is really important for that thyroid sensitivity to the cells.
So carrots and cantaloupe, like some of our orange vegetables and fruits.
And so this isn't like huge lifestyle, hard to make changes. These are just a few small additions.
Tweaks, yes.
Mm-hmm. And if people have more questions, you guys are going to be having a presentation or kind of a Q&A at Natural Grocers coming up?
Yeah, so next week on Tuesday from 6 to 7, I'm going to be doing a 30-minute talk on thyroid health. So if people have questions, they can come and ask and listen to the presentation. And if the questions aren't asked, we'll do a Q&A at the end. And then Ashley's going to be doing a food demonstration on some of the foods that we talked about and how to incorporate those into a meal.
Okay, that's great. The thyroid is so crucial, and we only have a couple of minutes when we're talking, but a lot of women have questions and can kind of get you just a start by going to this session, and then a good idea to talk to your provider as well, correct?
Absolutely, yes. So that's why we wanted to talk about the different foods mostly, because there's not going to have a side effect of just eating a better diet versus you can sometimes get too much of certain nutrients, or maybe your thyroid isn't to the point that you need to be put on medication, but there's things that you can do lifestyle wise to really support it before you get to that point.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming in today. Always great visiting with you.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the great deals that you can snag at the shops at Blue during their summer block party.